The hell? Okay. So this is the second time I'm doing this. I don't know. I thought the first time was pretty good, but apparently it didn't record it, so I have to do it again. So we're doing lesson number 281. I can be hurt by nothing but my thoughts. Excuse me. But first, for the next 10 lessons, we're going to be operating under the contemplation of what is the Holy Spirit. And as I was reading this, there were a couple things that came to me that I wanted to express about the nature, about what I have found, the nature of the utilization of the Holy Spirit is within my own mind and heart, and how that comes about. And so what is the Holy Spirit mediates between illusions and the truth, as he much bridges the gap between reality and dreams. Perception leads to knowledge through the grace that God has given to him to be his gift to everyone who turns for him for truth. There is part of the requirement for turning to him. Turn to him for truth. Across the bridge that he provides, our dreams all carried to the truth to be dispelled before the light of knowledge. There are sights and sound forever laid aside. And where they were perceived before forgiveness has made possible perception's tranquil end, and notice the association of forgiveness with the action that is performed by the Holy Spirit, because forgiveness entails the understanding of the Holy Spirit coming to you. And the qualification, finally, when this says to be his gift to anyone who turns for him for truth, the call in your mind for the truth and the call that the Holy Spirit recognizes within your mind is finally unequivocation. There's lines in the Course that says the Holy Spirit will answer any unequivocal call. Now, the parameters, whatever we use, the situation that we use to finally get to a point where we make an unequivocal call for the Holy Spirit, have nothing to do with the fact that the Holy Spirit will answer any unequivocal call, in the sense that he's only waiting for your mind to unequivocate as to what it wants, because it can no longer take what it has been getting and knows not what else to do, and no longer wants the result of its own thinking. So it will reach a point where it cannot equivocate because there's no place left for it to go. In that instant, your mind is postured in asking for help of the Holy Spirit. Now, remember, to the Holy Spirit, there's only one problem and there's only one solution. The single problem is always separation, and the answer to that problem is always an experience of joining with the Holy Spirit to show you that the problem had no reality in relationship to the fact that you are already whole and perfect and joined. So every time we can allow our mind to reach a point where it no longer equivocates as to what it wants, because it doesn't want, in a sense, I'll use the idea of a split mind, which requires the use of the Holy Spirit, because a whole mind is already utilizing the Holy Spirit, because a whole mind contains all the parts of divinity within it, as it is contained in all the parts of divinity itself, in the entire nature of divinity itself. So it doesn't matter what the problem is that you seem to utilize to reach an unequivocal desire for an answer for the Holy Spirit, because through the Holy Spirit all problems are one. Now, he cannot exceed. Now, this is something you need to consider and think about within your own heart and mind. The Holy Spirit cannot give you an answer that exceeds the limits of fear that you are unwilling to let go of. So we've placed limitation on our mind, and now we're looking for forgiveness of the limitation that we placed on our mind, because as we learned in the last few lessons, all limitation, there is no way to limit God's Son, because God's Son was created limitless. So if we're having an experience of limitation, then therefore we've placed limitation on our mind, and we need to remove that limitation, because God placed no limits on us, nor does the Christ. The separation is the effect of tiny mad idea that in its effect made a world wherein which the Son of God can think he is limited by the nature of the illusion he seems to be in. And he can use the condition of the illusion as a means of finding where he's placed limitation on himself, see that he does not want the limitation that's been placed on him, but he also does not want, let's put it this way, a solution within the world of space and time that seems to be more unlimited, but only affirms the fact that limitation is possible. What we require is the unequivocal call for truth, the unequivocal call for an answer, because our mind can no longer figure it out for itself. The allowance for the Holy Spirit to dawn on us, and in a sense obliterate the question as ever having anything to do with who we are in reality. And each and every time we reach the point where we don't equivocate and allow the Holy Spirit to work, we've reached the point within our mind and heart where we've discovered, in a sense, limitations, or let's call it false thoughts, that we have held about ourselves and about our brothers. And because the entire illusion is one whole false thought about our brothers and ourselves, any false thought that we allow, that we bring to the Holy Spirit without equivocation, will give us the same answer. Now, as we utilize those answers, the fear of the answer itself and the fear of who we are in reality begins to dissipate, and there's broader and broader strokes of limitation that we seem to include within our desire for the Holy Spirit to answer within our mind. The goal the Holy Spirit's teaching sets is just the end of dreams. For sights and sound must be translated from witnesses to fear the those of love. That's what I'm talking about. We've made these things that we've utilized as defense against the truth, as defense against the love, and the proof that they're working is a condition we call fear. Okay? All of our fears, as we bring them to the Holy Spirit, based on the unequivocal, based on a point of not being able to find the solution any longer, and being unwilling to settle for solutions that verify the limitation and in fact produce further limitation through fragmentation. Anytime our mind will reach that point and not equivocate, it'll naturally spring into the spot where we can allow the Holy Spirit to enter into our mind and free us from the nightmare that we've been using to define ourselves in that particular situation. Ultimately, at some point in time, it dawns on us to bring the entirety of it to Him, or what's left of within our heart and our mind, and then all of our illusions are translated into truth, and only truth remains, and then the necessity for the continuous space and time as a place to learn is simply passed by and no longer needed. And remember, what we've come across time and time again in these sections for contemplation that we're given is that turnaround point in our mind where we finally begin to allow our mind to discover its ability to seek for truth, when in fact we have been seeking for falsity, and begin to use our mind for truth by the same decision-making process that we previously used our mind to validate the illusion and the falsity. And there was a line in here for learning. And when this is entirely accomplished, learning has achieved the only goal it has in truth. For learning, as the Holy Spirit guides it to the outcome he perceives for it, becomes the means to go beyond itself and be replaced by it. If you but knew how much your Father yearns to have you recognize your sinlessness, you would not let his voice appeal in vain, nor turn away from his replacement for the fearful images and dreams you made. This is the line. The Holy Spirit understands the means you made by which you would attain what is forever unattainable. And if you offer them to him, he will employ the means you made for exile to restore your mind to where it truly is at home. And it doesn't require anything more than a moment's unequivocation within our heart and mind to recognize that this would be what we would truly want, and learn that the thoughts that we were previously thinking, and every time we thought we turned something over to the Holy Spirit, we weren't really turning anything over to the Holy Spirit. We were just trying to appease the problem within our mind rather than find the solution. Because when our mind no longer wants a solution within space and time and doesn't equivocate that, the Holy Spirit begins to utilize the means that we made. And in a sense, that includes perception, to perceive that there's another way, and turn to him for that other way, rather than turning to what we've habitually turned to in order to find an answer within space and time, to maintain the ego personality that we've been utilizing within an illusion of a world, therefore not finding an answer, and while for an instant thinking something's been accomplished, when in truth the problem just keeps coming around and around again, because we failed to turn it over to the power that is within us, that's been given to us from beyond space and time by God, the Holy Spirit, that can bring an end to the illusions that we think are problems and restore us to sanity. And the memory of all your Father's love will not return to signify the end of dreams has come. Without forgiveness, will your dreams remain to terrify you? Period. And the memory of all your Father's love will not return to signify the end of dreams has come. So here we are, within this contemplation of the Holy Spirit, seeing the close association that the Holy Spirit has with forgiveness. The utilization of forgiveness within our heart and mind to rid us of the illusions that keep us from recognizing who we are, who our brothers are, and what the reality that God created us to extend is, are dispelled through the action of forgiveness. Without forgiveness, will your dreams remain to terrify you? Period. Now, again, don't mistake this for saying that without A Course in Miracles, dreams, without A Course in Miracles, all the memory of your Father's love will not return to signify the end that dreams has come. Anyone who has had the experience of recognizing the return of the love of his Father into the awareness and into the experience of his heart and mind has achieved a moment of forgiveness. And because of the nature of the time that we're in, that's happening to many, many people more and more. And one of the reasons I have found, and one of the reasons I've been given for the coming of the Course in Miracles into the world at this point in time is just for that reason, because these anomalous experiences that people are having within their own heart and mind that is showing them something beyond the veil of the illusion become benchmarks for them to utilize when they finally see some sort of explanation that offers them a reasonability for the experience to have been true and valid within its heart and mind, even though it's so anomalous within the mundane world of space and time. And then the utilization of the process that we've been given allows us, through the unlearning of the old and a replacement learning of the new, allows us to discover how we can utilize our mind to allow it to be in a position of unequivocation, so as for the Holy Spirit to be part of our daily experience, and allow each day to be a day of learning of the truth of who we are, rather than a day of experience ourselves as headed toward the grave, or getting sick and old and dying, dispirited in our search for happiness within a world in which it can't be found. It's fleeting at best. And it's funny because the fleeting instances of the happiness that you have here, followed by the depression of the loss of that happiness, have yet to become enough to allow you to unequivocally want something else. And yet we suffer that depression after the happiness leaves us and wonder what's going on over and over again, simply because we're in a condition of forgetting what our true happiness is. The fact that we are eternal, we are infinite, and nothing short of that which is likewise eternal and infinite will ever allow you to be or recognize the joy that was created for you beyond space and time, rather than the stolen moments that we seem to live for within space and time. So accept your Father's gift. It is a call from love to love, because you are what love is. That it be but itself, the Holy Spirit is his gift, by which the quietness of heaven is restored to God's beloved Son. Who would refuse to take the function of completing God when all he wills is that you be complete? And lesson 281, it can be but my thoughts. I can be hurt by nothing but my thoughts. Father, your Son is perfect. If you're perfect in reality, and reality is eternal, and the perfection of your reality is the entirety of the abundance of love, then what could possibly hurt you if there is only that? So somewhere, hurt must be an illusion you foster on yourself, because your Father has no desire for you to be hurt. Just as you would never have a desire for your own offspring to be hurt. No matter what the conditions that seem to occur, when he thinks that he is hurt in any way, it is because he's forgotten who he is, right? And that he is as you created him. Your thoughts can only bring me happiness, of course. What could they bring? They could, only the missing of his thoughts could bring you unhappiness. And that's not because his thoughts aren't there. It's because you've decided to utilize your mind for another purpose. And that he is as you created him. Your thoughts can only bring happiness. If ever I am sad or hurt or ill, I have forgotten what you think and put my little meaningless ideas in place of where your thoughts belong and where they are. I can't be hurt by nothing but my thoughts. The thoughts I think which you can only bless. That's what I was speaking of. The thoughts we think we got have to be uncovered, because there are thoughts we think we got, because we are God's thought and never left his mind, created in his own thinking image, and therefore think along with him. Here we merely seem to sleep, to awaken to the recognition of who we are in reality as God's thought. I can be hurt by nothing but the thoughts I think that you can only rest. The thoughts I think with you alone are true. So any thought that isn't true is a thought I think alone apart from God. I will not hurt myself today, for I am beyond all pain. My Father placed me safe in heaven, watching over me, and I would not attack the Son he loves, for what he loves is mine to love as well. And this is going to be a nice little read for you this evening, just prior to you going off to sleep. Spend 5 or 10 minutes, 15, Jesus says, and think of this, and think of all the love your Father has, and the fact that he placed you at home in heaven where his love abides along with yours, and where nothing but that love can touch you. And all this is but a dream of something other than that, and it's rapidly coming to a close each time we utilize the Holy Spirit in action of forgiveness to remember who we are as God created us.